Paul.
Yes.
hmm I was talking to you about That's All We Know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that I put some screen prints on my war crimes drive.
Yes.
And the idea that any nation of the world can aid and abet those that are in law enforcement. Why don't you give me the international law enforcement agencies of these international treaties? Now, there was this idea, right, that you could cover up crime.
Yep.
There was that idea. I decided to Google,
Yes.
um, can I get arrested for not reporting a crime? Poop. Now, I know you're in the police department. Your thought was, well, we don't have to enforce the laws. And there was some kind of excuse that you've been giving yourselves that we can know about forgery. We can know about kidnapping. We can know about false arrest.
Yes.
Mhm. We can know about the violating of the laws and the constitutions, and you kind of made it personal,
Yes.
as I was explaining. Now, there's this idea that's all we know.
Yes.
hmm Let's say I was able to use the court system and I was to deposition you,
Yes.
and I was going to ask you,
Yes.
do you know that you can be charged as a crime for knowing about a crime and not saying anything?
Yes.
Now, many people are unaware of their legal obligation
Yeah.
when it comes to reporting criminal activity. Some don't want to get involved for fear of becoming a victim themselves.
Yes.
There's always a possibility that you risk harm to yourself or a third party if you divulge information about a crime you suspect has already been taking place.
Yeah.
Now, there's a big difference
Yes.
between a feeling of ethical responsibility and a legal duty to act.
Yes.
See, undocumented,
Yes, you did.
that those two signatures of the ex officio superior court clerk,
Yeah.
one of them must be a forgery. Poop. And then there's numerous signatures of Heidi Lee Budner.
Yes.
The slant was wrong for my wife.
Yeah.
hmm hmm Then there are all those court hearings that you had
Yes.
where I didn't get notice, and there was no opportunity for me to be heard.
Yes.
And then there was the putting of my last name in the newspapers where my sons are in the wrong grades.
Yes.
Then there's the documentation of Susan Bowers being in a picture holding Legina in a Rotarian newsletter.
Yes.
Now, generally speaking, most people are under no legal obligation to report a crime. However, there are exceptions to this law that you ought to know about. Let's take a brief look. Okay, some of the examples. Aiding and abetting a crime, Penal Code Section 31.
Yeah.
In the state of California,
Yes.
and I would think almost every state of the United States, and quite possibly every nation of the world,
Yes.
you can be charged with a crime that was committed if you aided or abetted in its commission,
Yeah.
but did not actually commit the crime yourself. Penal Code Section 31.
Yeah.
Now, I can give you numerous examples I documented where you thought you'd be on somebody, they would do the harassing.
Yes.
You'd be on somebody and they do the arresting.
Yes.
You'd be on somebody and they do the reporting of the allegation of violating the restraint provisions. Like you'd have a dog, right? You'd be on the dog, which the dog would be me. Now, prosecutors can charge you as an aider and abetter whenever you know the perpetrator's illegal plan, which you intentionally encourage or facilitate that plan and aid, promote, or instigate in the crime's commission.
Yes.
Let's say you'll pay for the show. Yes, if Paul gets arrested, when you know Paul wasn't in Squim. Let's say you paid for the show. When Paul was transported across county lines, yes, when you did know Paul wasn't in Brennan, yes, and he wasn't cyber stalking for the previous year and a half, quite possibly the whole time.
Yes.
Now, accomplice liability, You can take a passive role during a crime in progress, such as acting as a lookout. Let's say you're going to be on somebody. Yeah. You're going to set the individual up. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then you're going to watch the show through the eyes of somebody else. Yes. And the laughing your asses off how he's really getting reamed. Now, I want to kind of explain something to you. Let's say you have a soul. Yes. I noticed after I had showered, yes, that my soul has split from my shoes. Now, you can really appreciate the loss of a soul. Yes. It's called the searing of the conscience of those that have had sex in the family. Yes. That have no remorse. They do not feel guilt. In fact, if you watch the movie Terminator, yes, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, the war of the machines was that they do not feel any emotion at all. Now, I'm getting the feeling that those that are liable for the laws, they are void of any emotion. Pooch. Now, let's say your conscience is seared. Yes. You decided to come to find out. Right. You find it's humorous terrorizing American citizens. Yes. You have one of these rabies problems of those in the dog family. Yeah. If you conceal a crime, meaning cover up the crime, yes. Having hidden, certain documents or refusing to acknowledge the requirements of the law, yes. Or giving assistance to those that cover up the crime, pooch. Helping them to not be detected, yes. Arrested or prosecuted, you can be charged as an accessory after the fact. Now, let's say you're in the Seattle Police Department. Yes. You're wanting to conceal that the judiciary of Clallam County, yes, issued court orders that violated the laws. You, in your concealment, yes, will get sued and prosecuted. Oh, 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 oh.